Hello, everybody. It is great to be here one more time today. And my name is Gary Fowler. I'm the CEO, president, and founder of GSD Get Shit Done Venture Studios, a premier AI and quantum venture studio located in the heart of Silicon Valley. I am a 17-time serial entrepreneur involved in a number of startups. I was on the original management team at Qanlex Software, which was sold to Salesforce for $1.35 billion, and also Eva.ai, an AI HR tech company that I co-founded with Dr. David Yang. We believe at GSD that intellectual capacity is evenly spread around the world, but opportunities are not. And with that, GSD is located today in 57 countries around the world. And we've got 139 companies that have come through GSD. By the way, it stands for Get Stuff Done. Anyhow, I'd like to introduce my incredible guest, Yago Gahan. Yago is a amazing guy. In fact, he was a former ski instructor. We're going to ask about that. But Qanlex, co-founder of Qanlex, Tessacom was a sales manager of a large Latin American satellite communications company in IoT, Group Technine. I mean, just a robust background. And he went to Harvard University too. So we're going to bring him on. Hi, Yago. How you doing today?
Hey, Gary. It's great to be here. Super nice.
Now, I got a question for you. Now, how in the world do you go from Cardinal Newman College to become a ski instructor? Now, how did that work?
Well, I really like skiing, and being a ski instructor is a great way to ski through the summer. In my case, because I'm from Southern Hemisphere, so being a ski instructor allowed me to ski throughout the summer and work and make money in between the two college years. Let's say.
That must have been interesting. So, how did you go from, what was the day that you decided, listen, from the Instituto Tecnológico in Buenos Aires, that you decided to go to Harvard for an MBA? What did it, just like one moment you said, oh, I'm going to Harvard?
Well, quite some years passed in the middle. I studied engineering. Then I got my MS in mechanical engineering and automation. Then I worked as a developer for a couple of years, and then I decided to keep on studying. And an MBA seemed like a good path to starting my own thing, which is what I did eventually. And Harvard seemed like a very good place, and I was lucky enough to be accepted. We did well in the GMAT, I guess, and yeah, I fell through the cracks and they accepted me. So it was an unbelievable experience. I met insanely interesting people, friends that I keep to this day. And it gave me amazing tools to start Qanlex. And so we've been growing ever since, 4 years and counting.
Now I got a question, Yago. How important is your network at Harvard to your business?
Well, that's a very, very good question. I think, and the answer is a lot. I don't think we would be here without the network. Not only because it allows you to tap onto pools of capital that you wouldn't have access to otherwise, but also it's incredibly interesting, incredibly smart people that not only help you succeed, but want you to succeed. And they just provide all kinds of resources, be it professors, students even, and then people they know that they might refer you to. Maybe sometimes the third referral, like someone refers you to someone that refers you to someone. Maybe the third referral is the one that adds value by having an idea or referring someone or even pitching in as an investor.
No, that's great. So it helped you out a lot. Now, what was it like coming from the Southern Hemisphere up to Harvard? What was it like the first day on campus? How did you feel walking around? Just say, I really made it. I'm here.
Yeah, well, I think the most common feeling is what's called imposter syndrome, which is I'm not supposed to be here. Everyone's probably super smart here. But no, it felt fantastic, actually. I hit it off with some people that were my similar vibe right away. And they make it super welcoming. The classes are super interesting. Everyone is extremely kind. The campus itself is fantastic. So it's extremely easy to have a good time there and to fit in and to find people that are alike, and I don't know, and just explode.
Now, when you went up there, what was the thing when you went to the university? What was the thing that you said to yourself that was a lot different than what you thought? And what was it coming in? What was it? You get in there and you have all these impressions. What was it
Yeah.
like?
Well, I actually thought I was going to be odd because even though I was an engineer and a programmer, and we are all nerds in our own way. There's this one thing that you really like, and for me, it was automation, and that you really like, and you're a nerd about. But I thought it was going to be hyper focused on extremely academic people. And even though it was, and you had those types of personalities, you would have every type of personality, and that's was something that surprised me. That it was just highly driven people, but driven in very different ways. So you would have sporty people, you would have people, business people, you would have sales people. So it was way rounder than I thought.
It must be interesting, and I bet some of those people are famous now, aren't they?
Yes, some of them are. Not all of them made it to GST Live Studios, but some of them are.
No, it's great. It's great having you here. So you did this. So you went to Lake Tahoe and you were a ski instructor. Now, is that still your passion?
Oof, that's a good question. No, skiing is not my passion. It's a sport I really enjoy. I don't get to do it as much as often lately, unfortunately. But no, skiing is not my passion. It's a fantastic sport, and I love the adrenaline. I liked it more when I was younger, to be fair. But now I guess my passion is Qanlex and building something great, which we're doing, and I'm really enjoying the process,
So
even though it's more exhausting than skiing.
did you grow up in Argentina? Are you originally from Argentina or Brazil? Or
I am. I am. I'm originally from Argentina. I grew up in Buenos Aires, and I actually lived there all the way till I was 28, till when I went off to Cambridge, to Harvard.
Well, that's interesting. So
Now I'm in Madrid, actually. So
how
now
is it
me
now?
and my partner are based in Madrid.
You got this view of the world that's a lot different, or it appears to be a lot different. How do you look at the world differently than you did when you were in Argentina?
Wow, good question. Yeah, I guess you get to experience a lot of different points of view about everything. So prior to meeting people from all over the world, you probably have a way you view the world, and then you realize that you go on to meet other people, and if you try to use the same system to analyze it, it'll be like trying to square a circle. So you adopt new ways of looking at the world based on other people's ways of looking at the world, and you just become a more holistic person, I guess. And you learn to see the world in different ways, and you realize that the way you had works in many ways, but it doesn't work for every scenario. So it's always nice to learn new approaches to looking at the world.
And so, I mean, you've done everything to be in a private tutor. You were a private tutor for a while, right?
I also did that.
How
I did
was
a private tour during my formative years at college. I used to work as a private tutor because it was flexible and it allowed me to work and study. But I gotta say, I really also enjoyed it. I had a very game like approach to teaching math and chemistry. I think math and chemistry are often taught poorly. You would have the classic kid that is struggling through math, but is extremely good at board games because they're street smart. And I remember I always enjoyed teaching math as if it were a board game. Like, these are the things you're allowed to do, these are the things you're not allowed to do, get to this point. And if you just gamify math, I think a lot of people that think they're bad at math but good at board games or street smart, they actually do realize they're very good at math, and it was just a mental barrier they had done for themselves because someone told them when they were 5 years old that they were not good at math, or they thought so, or their family is usually not good at math. But it makes no sense. It was just poorly taught. So I actually really enjoyed being a tutor.
Yeah, no, I took 17 math courses in university myself, and I remember I hated math when I was in high school. And it wasn't until I got a tutor and the tutor explained it to me and I could sit down and feel the math, then I started to get a lot better. But if I didn't know it and didn't understand it, I just turned off completely. And if they want to spend time, but once I started getting tutored and through the motions, it was unbelievable. Actually, you get straight A's in the courses.
Yeah.
Hard.
Well, hopefully, I must have had over 100 students. Hopefully, one of them will someday speak as highly of me as you're speaking about that particular tutor. And
Yeah,
that's really what I was trying to do.
it really helped a lot. So, okay, tell me about, you went to, you go over to Tessacom, you go into sales management. Now, you're traditionally an engineer, right? What made you decide to go over into sales?
Well, I guess when I was studying engineering, I remember one of our teachers asked the class, "What's the most complex tool you'll ever have to handle?" And people started saying all sort of different types of tools, and the answer was humans. So I guess that if you want to be great at what you do, no matter how good you are with the hard math or with any particular tool or at solving any particular issue, eventually you would have to manage people that actually solve those issues, and your job will become to make their lives easier and be able to motivate them and make them feel better. So Tessacom was a fantastic company that does IoT, and IoT is like the ultimate automation. That's why I loved it. But eventually you try to grow and try to manage teams, right?
And so you went down through that. So how'd you come up with Qanlex? Where did that come from? What made you decide to found that company?
Yeah, Qanlex is a mixture between tech, finance, and law. Our thesis is lawsuits are assets, whether you like it or not. And there's just actually it's a well-known industry in the US. By now, you already have 60 litigation finance firms in the US. We do litigation finance, if that's not obvious by now. But we added a layer of tech on top because we leveraged the fact that in the last couple of years, the judicial systems have gone online. So what used to be the case that a law firm had to send a young lawyer to the actual court to get any advancements in cases, like any new documentations or any notifications by the judge. Courts started providing that as a service online, a notification service really, but unwillingly what they created was this database of all these lawsuits and all the characteristics and all the documentations of the lawsuits that we were considering assets. And we knew by a fact that the owners of those assets did not have those assets in their balance sheet, meaning if a company sues another company for $5 million, they don't put $5 million as a receivable. But if you try to buy that lawsuit for $1, which is valued at zero in their balance sheet, they will not sell it to you. That means there's a mismatch between what they're actually valuing it and the balance sheet value, and that mismatch allows you to really unlock value in the balance sheet and allows them to hedge and put some of that future flow that is not a receivable in their balance sheet. So what we did was exactly that. We would go to companies and tell them we would allow them to hedge this asset that they had that wasn't a receivable. And the way we did it through technology was we leveraged these judicial databases. So we developed a software that would screen through all the ongoing databases, all the ongoing lawsuits, and it would parameterize all these ongoing lawsuits, read all the documentations, and basically transform the lawsuit into a vector of variables. And it would compare this with past lawsuits that were similar. And it would just rank them, and those that it deemed most attractive for investment, it would automatically contact those. So that this doesn't mean we would invest where an algorithm tells us. It just means that the algorithm would make our lawyer team highly efficient at finding good cases in which to invest. So that we would have extra qualified leads, not only because the software already liked the lawsuit, but also because the company was already commercially interested. Meaning, when they replied the email, it would only then would a human go into the loop. But by then, it would be already a good lawsuit and already with commercial interest. Just to give you a sense, in the last year, we did 18 investments, and our lawsuit and our software went through 2.3 million lawsuits. So that would have been completely impossible to do in a traditional way, of course.
Wow, that's amazing. And
That was a lot to unpack, Gary. I apologize.
no, it's really good. It's that's the future. So where else can you apply this technology? Because if you can do it just to lawsuits, you can do it to all kinds of other things. looking for opportunities. Where are you going to play?
Well, actually, yeah, I think the idea of the technology here is to uh, allow humans to sort, to make them make sorting more efficient, right? We're not telling humans where to invest here, but if you grab a 2.3 million cases full of documents, we help you sort through them and tell you, okay, here are the ones that are the most X, here are the ones that are most Y. And I guess this I'm probably preaching to the choir now, because you have a lot going into this with the language-based prediction models, right? So but the way we are doing it, unbelievably so, no one is doing it still in the regions where we operate, which is using it to find good cases in which to do litigation finance, really. But the biggest problem here is not only that, is litigation finance in Europe, where we're based, or in South America, continental Europe, I should say, the UK, which is similar to the US in legal. They're both common law, which is based on jurisprudence, that you do have litigation finance there. But in continental Europe or South America, you don't really. And the biggest challenge here is to evangelize the market, allow them to see that they have an asset. And that's our biggest challenge. But luckily, thanks to the technology, we do that only in very specific cases in which the lawsuit is good and they are already somewhat interested, so they reply to the automatic email sent by the software.
And so basically what you do, you just finance the lawsuit. Let's say somebody wins 300,000. What do you do?
Yeah. So the way we operate is, someone is suing company A, suing company B for $10 million. We would advance to them if everything checks out. Of course, we have 3 stages: the software, then our inner team. We have 13 people in Qanlex, and then we have partnerships with the best law firms in the regions where we operate to just check everything that it's okay. And if all those check out, we would advance, let's say, $1 million, which is 10% of what they are suing for, in exchange for a percentage of the proceeds, depending on the case length, etc. It's a multiple of invested capital that varies with time. But basically, for them, it makes a lot of sense, because it's a way to capitalize their balance sheet without debt. Because when they access debt, of course, they get the cash, which is why they want the debt, but they also have a liability, which is the debt. Or when they do receivable finance, they get the cash, but they have a discounted asset, which is the receivable gets discounted. So basically, their balance sheet is not enhanced in either way. The beauty of litigation finance is that when they get the cash from us, the asset they're discounting is not in the balance sheet. So their balance sheet really actually does look enhanced. And that's a fantastic thing for our clients. And then, of course, the good thing for our investors is that, contrary to receivable finance or debt, litigation finance is not tied to macroeconomic parameters. Basically, it's not.
How do you bet on the come? You don't know if they're going to win the lawsuit or not. So you've got to have some kind of probability.
I would argue we do know. So since inception, we did 48 investments and we never lost a case. And that's thanks to the software, of course, but also thanks to, because what the software allows us to do is to go into the lawsuits when they've already started. So if, for example, let's say, Gary, you're a company and you sue Coca-Cola, you have a nice claim against Coca-Cola. If you come to us, we probably won't fund the lawsuit. We'll say, put it forth, and 2 years down the road, when we have more information, we'll see whether we fund it or not. So thanks to software, we can go into things that have already started, and we can kind of cherry pick not only the best cases, but when we want them to end, because based on the past, we cannot know. So of course, we never know exactly, but we've been hitting 100 so far, and that's why we are doing so well, actually. But I agree with you. Conceptually, you can't know. Just like in the same way, even if you lend money to Google, you can't know if you'll get it back or not. You're never safe from black swans. But so far we've been right every time.
No, it's great. So I know we're coming up to the top of the show. So what kind of advice would you give to somebody that's in Argentina right now and growing up and trying to figure out what's going on with their future? What would you tell them in terms of the lessons you've learned to be able to dream the way you do?
Oh my God, that is such a good question. And definitely not ready to answer it. I guess above everything, Gary, I've been lucky. I've always worked hard, but I've been lucky above everything. And I think just work hard, keep on working hard. I guess doors will open eventually.
Work hard and dream and believe in your dreams, and they come true.
Get lucky. Yes.
Yago, thanks for taking time out of your busy schedule to join me today. And thanks for all of my audience for joining one more time. GSD presents Silicon Valley AI and Tech. And my name is Gary Fowler. I'm your host. I will be back again for another exciting edition. Stay happy, stay safe, and stay healthy. And we'll be back at you again soon. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye. Thanks, Yago.
Bye.